So if z is equal to 2 plus root 3, find the integers a and b such that this equation is true. Now, the first thing we know is that we have this equation and we have the value of z, so we have to use that to find a and b. Now, it is asking for the integer values. Now you have to know what are integers. So integers are whole numbers. It can be negative or positive. So it can be, for example, I can say minus 2 is an integer. 1, 2, minus 3 can also be integers. So it just needs to be a whole number, right? Now let's use this equation to find the values of a and b. So as you can see here, we have z squared. Here we have z. So z we know already. So we have to find z squared. So z squared will be what? Will be this 2 plus root 3 squared. So now we just have to expand the brackets. So let's do that one by one. So first we have to square this one. 2 squared will be 4. 2 times this will be 4 root 3. And then plus 3. That will be 7 plus 4 root 3. That is z squared. The next step is to replace those values back in your main equation. So we have a z squared, which is this one, 7 plus 4 root 3, plus b, z is 2 plus root 3. Let's expand the brackets and see what happens. So on one side you will have 7a plus 4a root 3 plus 2b plus root 3b. Now we can factorize these together as well. If you observe, here we have root 3, here we have root 3. So we can factorize them together. So let's take root 3 out. You will have on the inside, you will have 4a. Here we have plus b remaining. And now for this one, they are just constants, 7a plus 2b. And it is equal to 1 plus root 3. So now we have to solve this by equating the coefficients. So what do I mean? I mean that here we have root 3, here we have root 3. So what is root 3? So root 3 can also be written as 1 times root 3, right? So basically here we have 1. So by comparing those two, I can conclude that this is equal to 1. So this is my first equation. 4a plus b is equal to 1. That is my equation. Now for this one and this one, compare the same steps. So 7a plus 2b will be 1, and that is my equation number 2. Now as you can see, we have 3 equations. So how do we solve this? We can solve this by using simultaneous equations, right? So b is 1 minus 4a. Now b can be replaced here. You will have 7a plus 2 times b, which is 1 minus 4a, is equal to 1. Expand the brackets. That will be 2 minus 8a, 1. 7 minus 8 will be minus a. 1 minus 2 will be minus 1. So we conclude that a has to be 1. Now to find the values of b, b will be 1 minus 4 times 1. That will be 1 minus 4, and that will be minus 3. So here we conclude that a will be 1 and b will be minus 3, and these two are the integer values that we need to find for question number 1. Now for question number 2, we have to solve the equation. Now you have to understand, whenever they ask you to solve something, it means to find the value of x in this equation. Now here we have x, here we have a fraction. So what is x? X can also be written as x over 1, right? So we put x over 1, then we can just cross multiply. So let's do that. So 1 times this will be the same values, right? It doesn't change. But on the other side, we have x times this. So also, what is x? X, you will say it is also x power 1 times this you will have. So you have to know something here, which is the laws of indices. If you have the same base, for example, we have x power a times x power b. What do you get? You will get x a plus b. Okay, so same thing happens here. We have x power 1 times x power 0.5. Because it is times, we have to add the powers together. You will have x 1.5. For this one, 5x 0.5. Okay, now let's rewrite this equation. So here we have this as negative, so let's make it become positive. So we have to write this like this: 6 over x 0.5. 1.5 plus 0.5. Now we want to eliminate this one, or we can multiply everywhere by this value, so we can eliminate this. So let's do that. So this times this will give you 2x power 2 plus this over this times this will give you 6. This will give you 2 and 5x. So now we can simplify. We send this one over here. You will have x squared minus 5x equal to 0. Now we have a simple quadratic equation. We can factorize. Now be x times x. 6 is 3 times 2. I can write 3 here and 2 here. To get minus 5, we have to have minus 3 and minus 2. So x will be 2 and x will be 3. And this is your answer for question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So here we have to solve the inequality. So whenever we have modulus on one side and we have nothing on the other side, or even if we have modulus on both sides, I think the simplest way is to really just square both sides. Will be easier for you. You will have square here, you will have 9x squared minus 6x plus 1 is more than 9 plus 6x plus x squared. Now let's send everything to one side. You will have, so 9 minus 1x will be 8 minus 6 plus, so send this over here, become minus 12x. That will become minus 8 more than 0. Now we can simplify this. If you observe, everything is divisible by 4, right? Simplify, you will have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 more than 0. So now we have to solve this equation, but first we have to find the critical values. By 0, then we have to factorize. That will be 2x times x. 2 is 2 times 1, so 2, 1. To get minus 3, we have to have minus 4 plus 1. So x will be minus 1 over 2. X will be 2. Now this is like your answer. This is your critical values. You will have to find your answer by using your graph. So here we have positive value. The shape of the graph will be like this. Here we have minus half, and here we have 2. And according to the equation, we need value to be more than 0. So this is 0. More will be this part and this part. So your answer will be x have to be less than minus half, and x have to be more than 2. And this is your question number 3. Let's move on to question number 4. So here we have to solve the simultaneous equation, but first we have to simplify the equations and then use that to find the values of x and y. So look at the first one. So we have log base of 2 x plus 4 is equal to 2 base of 2 and y. So the good thing here is we know that they have the same logarithms. That's the good thing. Now we want to simplify. We can send this on top. You will have log x plus 4 is equal to log base y squared. So now we have logarithms of the same base on both sides. We can cancel those out. So right now you will have x plus 4 is equal to y squared. So let's make x become subject. You will have this minus 4 as my first equation. Now let's look at this one. So here I have log of base 2 7y minus x is equal to the value of 4. So how do you simplify this one? You have to know the laws of logarithms. For example, I can say this. If I have log of base 2, value of a is equal to, let's say, 3. To find the value of a, I will have to send this one over here. You will have 2 power 3. So same thing here. To find this value, 7y minus x, send this over here, you will have 2 power 4. So 7y minus x will be 16. And then we can make x become subject. You will have 7y minus 16. That is my equation number 2. Let's solve this equation now. Here we have x, here we have x. Replace. You will have on one side y squared minus 4 is equal to 7y minus 16. Simplify, let's send everything to one side. You will have y squared minus 7y, that will be plus 12 is equal to 0. Now we can factorize. Y squared is y times y. 12 is, we can try 3 times 4. To get minus 7, we have to have minus 4 and minus 3. So y is 3 and y is 4. Now we have to find the corresponding value of x. Replace the value of y here. You will have x is equal to 9 minus 4 is 5. And x is equal to 16 minus 4 is 12. So from here we conclude that we have two solutions. So we have y is equal to 3, x is equal to 5, or y is equal to 4, and x is equal to 12. And that is your question number 4. Now number 5, Naomi is going on a holiday and she intends to read 4 books. So she wants to choose 4 books to read on her holiday. Now she selects these books from, so we have 5 mystery, 3 crime, and 2 romance book. So we know this, but also we know that everything together she has 10 books, right? So 5 plus 3 plus 2 is 10 books. So we have to find the number of ways she can make her selection in the following cases. First one, if there's no restriction. So pretty easy. From the 10 book, she has to choose 4 books. So let's find this answer. So 10 book, choose 4 books, that will be 210. So that will be your answer for part 1. But now for part 2, she has to select at least 2 mystery books. So at least more or equal to 2 mystery books. So we have mystery, crime, and romance. At least 2 means has to be 2. So we can choose 1. So let's make this simpler for us. So let's combine these 2 as one kind. So we have 5 mystery and we have 5 remaining of those 2. So from the 5 mystery we have to choose 2. That's the first choice. And then we have to choose 2 as well because we need 4 books, right? Now we can also choose 3 from this. We can choose 1. Now we can choose 4. We can choose 0. So we have 1, 2, 3 cases we have to calculate one by one. So 5 choose 2 and 5 choose 2, or 5 choose 3 and 5 choose 1, or 5 choose 4 and 5 choose 0. So 5 choose 2 times 5 choose 2, 5 choose 3 times 5 choose 1, plus 5 choose 4 times 5 choose 0. That will be 155 as your answer. Now for part 3, she selects at least 1 book of each type. Okay, so now that's the new condition. So we have mystery, crime, and romance. So we have 5 mystery, 3 crime, and 2 romance. Now we have to check how many kinds of combination we have to get at least 1 of each kind, and she still wants 4 books to choose from. Now I can say we can first choose 1 mystery, 1 crime, but we have to choose 2 romance because we have to have 4 books. Now we can choose 1 mystery, 2 crime, and we can choose 1, right? Now we can choose 2 mystery, one crime, and we can choose one romance. Now let's try something else too. Let's try that. What if we choose 2 and we choose 2 and choose 0? So would that be possible? No, it will not be possible because we need at least one of each kind, so this will not be an option. So we only have 2 options. There are 3 options that we can have for this condition, which is 5 choose 1 times 3 choose 1 times 2 choose 2, or 5 choose 1, 3 choose 2, 2 choose 1, or 5 choose 2, 3 choose 1, 2 choose 1. So 5 choose 1 times 3 choose 1 times 2 choose 2, or 5 choose 1 times 3 choose 2 times 2 choose 1. 5 choose 2, 3 choose 1 times 2 choose 1. That will be 105 as your number of selections for part 3. And this is question number 6. Now let's move on to question number 6 now. That was at 5. So the volume of a closed cylinder of base radius x and height h is this. Now you guys must know this by now. What is the shape of a cylinder? It is like this, right? If it is closed, it means that both top and bottom, they are closed. They have surfaces on both sides. That's what it means. So how do you find volume of a cylinder? Formula is pi r square h. So volume is 500. Pi is pi, r square is x square, and h. So we have to express h in terms of x. So h will be 500 divided by pi x square. This is your answer for part 1. Now for part 2, we have to show that the total surface area is given by this. Now if you look at this, we have the base, the top surface, which is circles, so 2 pi r square, and plus the curved surface area, which is 2 pi r h. That is A as your total surface area. So now we have to simplify. That will become 2 pi r square is x square plus 2 pi x, h is 500 over pi x square. That is from part 1, right? Now simplify, you will have 2 pi x square. That will cancel out. You have 1000, and this will cancel out over x. And this is shown as required for the total surface area. Now for part 3, given that x can vary, you have to find the stationary value of a and show that this value is a minimum value. So you have to know this. Whenever you see this kind of question, when does this happen? We know that this is true when dA by dx have to be 0. That's the only option for the stationary value of a. Now a can be written as 2 pi x square plus 1000 x power minus 1 if you bring this up, right? So from this we have dA by dx will be 4 pi x minus 1000 x power minus 2, which is also equal to this over x squared. Now we have to equate that to 0. So simplify, we have to find the value of x. So we have this equation right now. So we want to eliminate the base first. Okay? So we have to multiply everywhere by this value. So multiply everywhere by x squared. You will have 4 pi x cubed minus 1000 equal to 0. That will become x cubed. That will be 1000 4 pi, which is, so 1000 divided by 4, that will be 250 over pi. From this you will have value of x is equal to cubic root of 250 over this value, right? That's the value that we have right now for value of x. But this is not the question, is we have to find the value of a at this value. So a at the value of x is equal to this value. You will have, so a is this one. Replace back in your main equation. So a will be 2 pi x squared, will be this value, which is root 3 250 pi squared plus 1000 over the value of x. So now you have to evaluate this. You will find the value that you need, that is for the first part. Now you have to show this value is a minimum value. So to show the nature of a value, we have to find d2a by dx2, the second derivative. We have to use this one. So that will give you 4 pi. That will become plus 2000 over x cubed. So given the value of x is positive, from here you see it is positive, you can see that this plus something positive will give you something positive as well. So you can conclude that since, so your answer will be written as this, since we have shown that d2a by dx2 is more than 0, we know a, the stationary value of a, is a minimum value. So by showing this, you show the value is a minimum value. So that will be your question number 6. Now question number 7. The gradient of a normal to a curve at a point is given by this. So the gradient of a normal times the gradient of a tangent is supposed to give you -1. That's something we have to know. But for now, we have this information. Now, find the equation of the curve given that the curve passes through this point. So let's see. So how do you find the equation of a curve? Curve, that is y. We have to find y. So we know y is equal to integration of dy by dx. So now, what is dy by dx? We have to know dy by dx is basically the gradient of tangent. And as you can see here, we have an equation relating tangent and normal by this. So from this, you can conclude that, so from this, right, that gradient of tangent has to be 3x minus 1 over root 3. Right, because you have to replace the value here and make this become subject, so you will have this as your value. So this is basically, so from this we conclude that this is the same as dy by dx. So y is equal to integration of 3x minus 1 over root of x by dx. So now we have to observe something. We can always simplify this. What is root of x? It is x power half. Now we can simplify this fraction. So we have 3x minus 1 over x this. This can be this over this and minus 1 over. Now simplify this, that will give you integration. That will be 3x power half minus, that will be the simplest form you can use to solve this. Now equal to 3 is only a multiple, remain the same. Now this one we have to add 1 first. Half plus 1 will be 3 over 2. Divide by this, the power, then minus here. The power plus 1 will be half, then divide by half, of course, plus c, that is y. Now we have to find this value of c by using this point. We know that x, this is the point that given to us, this is x, and this is y. Replace the values in your equation. Y is minus 10, and the rest was what? So this will cancel out. You will have 2, x is 1, 3 over 2 minus 2, 1/2 plus c. As you can see, this will be minus 10, 2 minus 2 plus c. So conclude c is equal to minus 10. So from here, the conclusion is the curve is y is equal to 2x 3 over 2 minus x power half minus 10. That is the equation of the curve. Now for part 2, we have to find in this form the equation of the tangent at the point where x equal to 4. So we know that x is equal to 4, but what is the value of y? Replace back in here, you will have y is equal to 2, 4, 3 over 2 minus 4 half minus 10. So 4 power 3 over 2, that will be 8 times 2, that will be 16 minus 2 minus 10. That will be 4. So the point is 4, 4. So now we know the gradient of tangent is dy by dx. It is equal to 3x minus 1 over root x. So let's find dy by dx at x equal to 4. That will be 3 times 4 minus 1 over root of 4. That will be 12 minus 1 over 2, 11 over 2, that will be 5.5. So you know the gradient, you know the passing point, you can find the equation pretty easily. So that will be y minus 4 over x minus 4 is equal to 5.5 over this. Cross multiply, you will have y minus 4 is equal to 5.5 minus 22. That is x, of course. So y is equal to 5.5x minus 22 plus 4. That is minus 18. And that is your equation of your tangent in this form. Now, where did I get this? I know I have this question all the time. Is a method to finding the equation of a line. So since I have the point 4, 4, I can use this as my x and y. So y minus 4 over x minus 4 is equal to the gradient, which is 5.5. Then we can just cross multiply. You'll find this as your answer. And that is your question number 7. Let's move on to question number 8. The matrix A is given by this. So we have to find 2A inverse. But first we have to find the 2A matrix. So 2A will be 4, 8, 2, 6. Now we have to find the inverse, but first we have to find the determinant. That will be cross multiply. 6 times 4 minus 2 times 8. That will be 24 minus 16, right? That will be 8. Now we have to find the adjoint matrix. That will be, which we have to switch the position. So 6 goes up, 4 goes down. Switch the sign. 8 becomes minus 8, 2 becomes minus 2. So from this we conclude that the inverse of 2A is 1 over determinant times the adjoint matrix. Okay, that will be part 1. Now for part 2, you can see here we say hence. Hence means we have to use this value here to find this solution. If you write this equation again, let's send everything to one side. No, sorry, this constant to one side and this one stay on one side. Let's put x first. You will have 4x plus 2y, 8x plus 6y equal to minus 5 equal to minus 9. But now if you observe, what is 2a? 2a was given to you by 4, 8, 2, 6. If you observe, it looks a lot like 4 is here, 8 is here, 2 is here, 6 is here. So we can write this down as a matrix. That will be 4, 8, 2, 6. Here we have x, and then y is equal to minus 5, 9. Now, for example, let's call this one, this is 2a. Let's call this one z, and this one, let's call it b. We want to find the value of z because we want to find the values of x and y. So we have 2a multiplied by z is b. We want to find z. But to find z, we have to eliminate 2a. So we have to pre-multiply 2a by its matrix, by its inverse. So you have this. You have 2a on both sides, right? Because when you multiply something, you have to multiply by both sides, so it does not change anything. Now this will cancel out, and z will be equal to 2a inverse of b. So we need to find the value of z here, which is xy is equal to 2a inverse is 1 over 8, 6 minus 8 minus 2, 4, and times b is here, minus 5, 9. Simplify. Matrix multiplied by rows by column. So rows will be 6 times minus 5 plus minus 2 times 9. So we have 1 over 8. The first value is minus 46. Again, rows by column, minus 8 times minus 5 plus 4 times 9. That will be 76. Divide by 8, so first value minus 48 divided by 8 will be minus 6. And then 76 divided by 8, that will be 9.5. As you can see, the value of x and y has been found. So x is minus 6, y will be 9.5. So this is your answer for question number 8. Let's move on to question number 9. So here we have to find dy by dx. So if you observe, what is this? X ln of x. It is a product, right? We take this, multiply by this, so it is a product. In this case, we can use a product rule. So we have this is equal to, we have to put the first one by itself, so x, and then times d by dx of the second one. And then second one by itself times d by dx of the first one. So simplify. X times, that will become 1 over x plus 1 over x times, that will be 1. So your answer will be 1 plus 1 over x. So here we have, let's write this again, we have d by dx, x ln of x is equal to 1 plus ln of x. That is the first answer. Now for part 2, we have to hence. So whenever you see hence, it means we have to use the previous value to find this answer. So hence, so in this case, we have to realize something is that integration or differentiation is the inverse process of integration. So which means by using this, we know that integration of 1 plus ln of x is equal to x ln of x. If you differentiate this, you get this. And if you integrate this, you get this. That's what it means. So by using this, let's find this answer. So here we have this. We can break it down. This can be simplified to 1 dx ln x dx is equal to x ln x. So now we only need to find this one. This is our question. So we have to make this become the subject of formula. So integration of ln x dx is equal to x ln x minus this one, right? That will become x ln x minus x plus c. So this one is optional. If you want to write this, you can write this, but this will be your answer for part 2. Let's move on to part 3. Again, hence. Hence means to use the previous answer to find the other solutions. So k is positive here. We have to find this one. Integration of 2k k ln x dx. We know that this is given by x ln x minus x, but now we have limits. So replace, you will have 2k ln 2k minus 2k minus, you have k ln of k minus k. Simplify, you will have 2k ln of 2k minus 2k minus k ln of k plus k. Now these two can be simplified, and this can be simplified as well. But if you observe there, here we have 2k. We can send this on top. You will have ln of 2k. So I think we should do something first because it might get complicated here. Let's do something first. Because of our answer here, as you can see, we have to show that this is equal to this. We have to do something first here. So let's first simplify the simple one. So right now I have 2k ln of 2k minus 2 plus 1 is minus k ln of k. Now we can factorize k outside. You will have k outside. You have 2 ln of 2k minus ln of k and minus 1. Okay, so now we have k outside as we need k outside. That's a good thing. And now we have minus 1, and here we have minus 1. That's a good thing. Now we have to simplify this. So here we have this. So we have 2 ln of 2k minus ln of k. So we can send this one on top. You will have ln of 2k square minus ln of k. So simplify, you will have ln of 4k square minus ln of k. Simplify. So here we have the same logarithms. We can combine them together. So ln 4k square, we have minus, become divide by k. That will be ln of 4k, right? So we know this one become this. So let's write this down. This is k. That will be ln of 4k minus 1. And this is shown as required in this question. That is your question number 9. Okay, let's move on to question number 10. Without using a calculator, we have to solve this equation. As you can see, we can rewrite this again as 6c cubed minus 7c squared plus 0c plus 1 equal to 0. Now you can see this one is a cubic equation because we have c power 3, right? And how do you solve a cubic equation? We have to factorize them and find the factors, and then we can solve them. So how do you find the factors of a cubic equation? We have to find them by trial. So what is 1? We know 1 is 1 times 1. So let's try 1 as the possible solution. So let this be called f of c. Let's take the first value to be. Let c become 1 because we use the factors, and let's try them one by one to see if it is a solution or not. So we have f of 1 is 6 minus 7 plus 0 plus 1. That will be minus 1 plus 1. That will be 0. So it is good because when we put value of 1 in our equation, give you 0, which means the remainder is 0. If remainder is 0, it means that it is a solution. Now, c equal to 1 is a solution, but c, we have to send this one over here, become minus 1 equal to 0. And this value here is a factor. So we have c minus 1 is a factor of this equation. That's the first step. Now, once you have a factor, we have to find the other factors to find the other solutions. So to find the other factors, we have to do long division. You have 6 c cubed minus 7 c squared 0c plus 1. We know the factor is c minus 1. So simplify. How can you make c become c cubed? Have to multiply by c squared. And here we have 6. Have to put 6. So multiply this by this. You will have 6c cubed minus 6c squared. Cancel out. Minus 7 plus 6 will be minus c squared plus 0c plus 1, right? Now again, how can you make c become this? You have to multiply by minus c. You will have minus c squared plus 1c. Cancel out. 0 minus 1 is minus c plus 1 plus 1. Now, same thing. How can you make c become minus c? You have to multiply by minus 1. That will become minus c plus 1. And that will be cancel out, 0. So we conclude that f of c can be written as c minus 1, which is the first factor, and then this one is the other factor. let's see if we can factorize this one. So we have two brackets. So 6c is c squared can be written as 3c times 2c. 1 is 1 times 1. To get minus 1, we have to have minus 3 plus 1. So this is the factorization of this equation right here. Now we have to solve this, which is equal to 0. As you can see, c is equal to 1. C is minus 1 over 3. C is half. And that is your answer for part 1. Now for part 2, we have y equal to this. Find this. Pretty easy. dy by dx. So first one will become sec square x and plus 6 cos x. This is your answer for part 2. So basically, by one we have to know that d by dx of tan is sec square x and d by dx of sine is cos x. Then we can just replace to find this answer. Now for part 3, it is given that d by dx is 7. We have to show this equation is true. So d by dx is found to be sec square x plus 6 cos x is equal to 7. Now what is sec x? It is 1 divided by cos x. Replace back here, you will have 1 over cos square x plus 6 cos x is 7. Now multiply everywhere by cos square x, because you want to eliminate this one, right? So you will have 1 plus 6 cos cube x equal to 7 cos square x. Simplify, you will have 6 cos cube x minus 7 cos square x plus 1 is equal to 0. This is shown as required. But now if you observe something, if you let c equal to cos x, you will have 6c cubed minus 7c squared plus 1 equal to 0. And this is the same equation we had in the first part of the question, right? So which means we have to use this to continue the other part. So here we have solve this equation for this domain. So let's see. So here we have, as you can see, this is equal to this. So this is basically 6 cos cube x minus 7 cos square x plus 1 is equal to 0. That is the equation that we have. Now, as we said, we have chosen c to be cos x. So we have 6 c cubed minus 7c squared plus 1 is 0. Now from part 1 we know c is equal to 1, c is equal to minus 1 over 3, and c is equal to half. So let's rewrite the values now. Back again, you will have cos x is 1, cos x is minus 1 over 3, and cos x is half. Now we are looking for the values only in the first quadrant, which is 0, and this is 180 degrees. Now if you observe, when cos is positive, it is in the first quadrant and in the fourth quadrant. So we don't need the fourth, we just need the first one, right? Because we only have this domain to care about. Now when cos is negative, it is in this quadrant and in this quadrant. So we only care about this one. And when cos is positive, it is in the first one and the fourth one. We don't care about the fourth one. Okay, so now let's solve one by one. So here we have x is cos inverse of 1. Cos inverse of 1 is 0. That's my first answer. And it can also be 360 minus 0. But of course we don't need 360 because it is outside of the domain, right? That's the first answer. Now x can be cos inverse, we have to first choose the value to be positive. It's just a trick that I will use to help me to find the correct values. So cos inverse of 1 over 3, we have to use radians. That will be 1.23. But now, of course, we have chosen the positive value, which is not your answer. We have to use the negative, right? So x is actually, based on this one, it will be pi minus 1.23, because it has to be in the second quadrant. You have to know, whenever the value is in the second quadrant, it has to be 180 minus the angle, or pi minus the angle. So same thing here. You will have this pi minus the angle. That will be 1.91. And for this one, x will be cos inverse of this. That will be 60 degrees pi over 3 as your answer. So pi over 3 is how much? 1.04. 05 as your possible value. Now that should be all for question number 10. Okay, so let me re-explain this part again because it might be confusing. Let me have some page here. So this part is what? This part is, we have cos of x is equal to 1 over 3. So when cos is negative, it is in this quadrant and in this quadrant. This will be pi minus theta, and this one, this will be the big one, that will be pi plus theta. So let's first find the value of theta. Theta will be cos inverse 1 over 3. That will be 1.23. That is the, because here we use the positive angle, it is not your answer, obviously. That is not your answer. So we have to find the correct answer. So let's try to use the negative itself. Why not? Minus 1 over 3. That should be. So the angle will be what? 1.1. And then theta, so the actual angle we want to find will be, according to this quadrant, minus 1.91. That will be 1.23. Okay, that should be your answer for your value, not the other one. So I guess I made a mistake in the first one, but this should be your answer for the angle for part 4 of question number 10. Okay, let's move on to question number 11. So here we have a curve right here and the tangent. Okay, first question, we have to find the point A. A is the point of intersection of the curve and the x-axis. So the curve is y, 4 plus 3x minus x squared. Now what is the equation of x-axis? It is y equal to 0. You have to know this, right? Replace them back in the equation. You will have 4 plus 3x minus x squared is 0. We can make this one become positive. Send this over here. You will have x squared minus 3x minus 4 is 0. Factorize x, 4 is 4 times 1, minus 3 is minus 4 plus 1. So we conclude that x can be minus 1, x can be 4. But here, as you can see, x is a positive value. It is not on this, it is on this side. That will be this as your answer. So A will be 4, 0. Okay. Now for part 2, find the value of m. Now how can you find the value of m? If you observe, if I tell you that we have a curve and there's a line that cuts the curve at exactly one point. So what do you think about? You think about that b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. The equation of the curve, you know it is y equal to 4 plus 3x minus x squared. And the line is y equal to mx plus 8. So we know they meet at one point, so they have to intersect. Let's solve them simultaneously. you will have 4 plus 3x minus x squared mx plus 8. You will have x squared plus mx minus 3x plus 8 minus 4 is 0. Simplify, you will have x squared plus m minus 3 x plus 4 is 0. So we just factorize this outside. Now this is a, b, c. So b squared minus 4ac has to be 0, because we know that the line is a tangent. It means to cover exactly 1 point. So b squared is m minus 3 squared. 4 times 1 times 4, that will be 0. So let's continue. On this side you will have m minus 3 squared is equal to 4 times 4 is 16. Send this over here, becomes 16, right? So m minus 3 is root of 16. M minus 3 is the value of 4. Or it can be so, because it is plus minus 1 because of the square root. M minus 3, so it can be 4, or m minus 3 can be minus 4. So here m will be 7, m will be minus 1. So the reason why we don't choose this value, we choose this one, is because, as you can see, the line is going downwards, which means it has a negative gradient. And if you observe this equation, this is the gradient of the curve. Because of that, this have to be your answer, as m equals to minus 1. Let's move on to part 3. So find the coordinates of b. So b, where is b? As you can see here, b is just the point of intersection. So going back to here, we have what? We have this equation, right? We have x squared plus m is minus 1 minus 3 x plus 4. That will be x squared minus 4x plus 4 is 0. Now we can factorize. That will be x times x. 4 is 2 times 2. To get minus 4, we have to have minus minus. X have to be the value of 2. So since we have the x value here, we have to also find the y value. So the y value, we place back in your equation of your tangent, which is y, minus x, which is minus 2, plus 8. That will be 6. So b will be 2, 6. Now for part 4, we have to find the area of the region. Now if you observe, we have this. So we can draw a line here. This is 2. This is 6, right? And what is this point? This is the point where this meets the x-axis. So let's do that. We have y equal to minus x plus 8. On the x-axis, y is 0, so x will be 8. That will be 8. Okay. So how do you find this area? If you observe, it is area of the triangle minus area below the curve. So what is the area of triangle? Is half times base. That will be 6. Height is also 6. That will be 18. That's the big area. So that is area of triangle minus area under the curve. What is this point? This is 4. So minus integration of 4 to of the curve. The curve is 4 plus 3x minus x squared dx. So simplify. That will give you 4x plus 3x squared over 2 minus x cubed over 3. Limits are 4 and 2. Now simplify, you will have 16 minus 3 times 16 over 2 minus 64 over 3 minus, that will be 8 plus 6 minus 8 over 3. So let's see what we have here. 16 minus 3 times 16 over 2 minus 64 over 3, and then we have 2 minus. So let's try that step by step, because it's kind of big. We might make mistakes here pretty easily, so let's try that step by step. So 4 times 4 is 16, minus, that will be 8, and it is plus, actually the minus plus. So 16 plus 24 minus 64 over 3, that will be 18, 2 over 3, minus, that is 8 plus 6 minus 8 over 3, that will be 11, 1 over 3. So 18, 2 over 3, minus answer, that will be 7, 1 over 3. So we conclude that your area is 18 minus 7, 1 over 3. That will be 10, 2 over 3 as your answer, units square for area. So that will be your answer for question number 11. So that was the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon.